I still can't get over what we saw happening outside the starship.
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay. That beam of light joining Dana and Rena.
That's what it looked like. And then the
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld?
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after? Is it—
Try to stay calm. With so many factors we don't understand. What is it?
No, it's just— Zephyr once told— So much for me making progress.
You made it this far, didn't you? You notice something, you change it. That's all anyone can do.
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that? It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk.
What are you?
directo37.
directo37. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh goody, more riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The red women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Date Phasol, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it, without question, throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what directo37 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's great spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy. And the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed, and it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasolma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renasolma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, directo37?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits directo37.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, directo37 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out. Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant directo37 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Have you guys lived up here in directo37 with directo37 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for directo37 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegus is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Directo37 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegus? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions. Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astral arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries.
They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and—
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while. Do you know anything about a spirit channeling?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you—
Yes. It was to use Lenegus to siphon—
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to— Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with—
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans and Helganquil that day. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other— To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could—
And the crown contests began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to— A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would have—
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from...
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical— As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physical—
directo37 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage.
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same—
He talks like the potential end of the world is just—
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here.
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down.
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but...
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of...
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade...
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is...
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably— Why don't we all take some time to think things over?
That's a good idea, Keith. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in. Sure you don't want to be alone?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what...
Sounds good.
Everyone's just gone their own...
Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the...
Right. Assuming we can believe any...
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could be behind...
But if directo37 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie...
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not.
Really? Well then. If we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another.
Make one, huh? I see.
You both seem awfully...
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? And we'll talk about...
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Dan and May... But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danans again, then mages won't be such... I know it's not as... Danans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still...
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice.
Yeah. I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold, but even so, I was still able to change. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a...
Rinwell.
That great spirit worries me too. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our...
Now that you mention it, directo37 and the other scientists here never...
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day...
We won't. We'll...
Oh, it's you two.
He who?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renan?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, but if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, as for the Renans, I suppose...
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia. In my case, I think that's partly because... So... to be told that they're like us. That they're actually just...
You kept a pretty level...
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil, but... At the same time, I realized that not...
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is... And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same... Yeah.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance...
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing...
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn...
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen.
Right. Everybody in a worst-case scenario.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not...
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. It won't be achieved through reasoning. But I think it's a good first step. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need...
I still can't believe...
You're not the only one still trying to...
Really? You've never struck me as...
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my...
It was really that...
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody...
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen.
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistake. That was no way to live. But all this talk about other races and the world ending...
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is...
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, but that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach...
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled...
The thing that's most important. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me.
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad... Law, you know you're strong enough to fight. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't...
Yeah. I'll fight to protect the people around.
I apologize for making...
You mean hearing the origin?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie... I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned.
That's just part of being alive, don't...
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself.
When you say the other Renans, you...
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problem, putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there...
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis, or come down to Dana, huh?
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to over... And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about...
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my...
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way.
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that response. On that note...
Oh? What?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator, so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only Blazing Sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to...
And I take it that you'll be the one to...
Yes. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society. Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking...
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning from...
What about you, Shion? How do you...
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. Right now, it's...
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going... I thought I'd die alone. That I would have never... It was how it fell...
I don't think Naori was hoping that she can... I don't think...
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, she said that the first step down that path, that means forgiving other people.
Forgiving?
Yeah. If we have any...
You know?
It's not going to be easy, but if we can do... I'm there with... I think that's the...
Yeah.
Whoa there, Sabe.
Yes, I know.
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dana's still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Xion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony, and to hear Xion tell it, it's the same one.
Indeed. Xion's thorns are comprised of and if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction...
Xion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's...
While the main body resides in Rena.
Xion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a...
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous. Large. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorns' connection thanks to Naori.
Directo37 has been observing the great astral spirit this whole... It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Our mind...
So if the Sovereign and Maiden were originally Buddha...
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins, and the Renaissance stolen...
First they lumbered...
More important...
I just...
Worst come...
Wait.
In any case...
Right.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Renas Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Renas Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Xion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the Thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Xion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational. It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Renis Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renis Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the Great Astral Spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
directo37 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all. fixed our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Man, is it too much?
Is the Renis Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit?
Shion's Firemaster Core was able to suppress astral energy. Couldn't we make use of that somehow?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. And with the amount of...
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit.
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel.
directo37 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details, so assume...
You're probably right.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us?
I am, but...
You're worried about the future of the...
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on.
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, even as I dream of retirement. I shall
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hate, but you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Danans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Danans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, if we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work on...
Don't even mention it. And really, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between...
You know...
Yeah.
Hey, why'd you call me here?
Well, if everything we've heard about the... So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize?
I was being real stupid before. About whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was... So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really.
No, Law. Honestly, of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it?
Yeah, I think that, but I think I also...
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from...
Yeah, of course. Because...
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to... It was the first time I felt like my powers had any Then, when I felt Dana's will, It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost...
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trusted Rinwell, and that...
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us? That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside... I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small but I think that's how Dana's energy...
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will.
Yeah.
directo37 might know the answer, but you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own, so thanks, Rinwell, for To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will, I feel like you and I had grown apart lately.
Huh?
Never mind.
Huh? No.
Saying? I don't remember saying anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were thinking? Then spit it out already.
You sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is.
Same as you, still trying to absorb it.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to...
Yeah?
If we can't find the Renis Alma, there's some... Like directo37 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after... I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
It's true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma, but it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it
You can't be serious.
Listen, the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second... I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. But if it comes down to it,
Okay, but you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen, okay. I understand. So it's a promise then?
Yeah.
I remember how I felt the first time you... My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, but still... hate having to see...
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone.
Everybody get enough rest?
Yeah, we should probably get...
Agreed. Can't stand...
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only to send down...
We're fighting for a new future for both.
Right. We've come...
Then let's go, everybody.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything...
Is that you, directo37?
I can see anywhere within the bounds of directo37.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give directo37 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought it?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the star.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere with...
Wait. Shh.
You'll need to be careful, due to the force field surrounding Rena.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot.
We gotta go all the way down.
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit?
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a...
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it said...
Well, come on, Doe.
Hold up. Did you...
You heard the lady. Get go...
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this...
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such... Why have you two continued to persist?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something... All right, time to get back on the phone lines.
It would appear that our Helganquil host really has fulfilled it.
You know what that means. Time to go to Rena.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive.
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by just stretches out everywhere.
I don't sense even a trace of This world is...
Then this must be the hollowing.
You mean to tell me this whole world? The entire ocean?
And it's covering everything.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy...
So arresting.
Back in its day, Rena was probably just as vibrant as day. But after being robbed of its astral energy for so long, those days are gone and past.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from living beings, but the land, the sea.
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude, until their whole world was nothing but this. And by the looks of it, that's how it...
With nothing left here to consume, the Great Spirit turned its sights on Dana, looking...
You're saying if we don't stop it, this is what Dana's...
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renan life will not...
If the oblivion and darkness both Shion and Naori saw comes to pass, it looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
So this is Rena.
A hollowed ocean as far as the...
What do you mean, what would happen?
Come to think of it, I don't believe I've heard of someone ever trying...
This is a... No, because I said I passed.
Taking an interest is understandable, but let's not forget where we are.
Looks like we're not going to be hearing the end of...
You think I was already snorkeling? So the idea is to seal the Great Spirit inside the Renaissance using this...
I'm guessing it won't be as easy as holding a spirit channel.
I already had wielded astral energy once 3 centuries ago. The problem isn't just our enemy's strength. It's that it's sentient too.
In other words, we need to find some...
Back when Shion's thorns flew out of control, we were able to deal with them...
If that's the case, it should make...
We might just be able to weaken it enough to steal the Renaissance. It won't be easy, but it's our own... Question for you. Let's say...
What'll the world be like?
Yeah, I mean...
A lot will have to change, that's for sure.
What do you mean?
It's well and good putting an end to Renan rule. But if it just...
That's true.
Renans, Danans, astral art users, mages...
If only we could see differences like that for what they are. Not differences.
It will take someone in power to set an example.
There will no longer be any need for the example.
That's where we come in. Imagine it. A world where magic and astral arts are used.
Yeah, you're right, Rinwell.
I wonder what Helganquil civilization was like.
I can imagine that'd be something...
There's no question it must have been advanced, like none either world has ever seen.
I get that you're itching to delve into its history.
Put a pin in it, and you can do all the research you want.
I can think of worse things than a retirement dedicated to research.
It's a little early to be giving it...
A man can dream, though.
Oh, we didn't say there's a...
In your case, Dohalim, dreams have a habit...
You'll need to stay with us for now, though.
Why do I feel this is less of a
Just a friendly suggestion.
Looks like we've warped into that pit of... astral energy.
Hey!
Is this about...
What? No!
Rinwell.
Oh, yeah, right. So I was thinking about those armored soldiers.
Yeah, they're designed to make whoever's wearing them strong.
Right. So it kind of begs...
I don't know, makes them more intimidating, I guess? Or maybe...
You don't think it's weird how the armored soldiers...
Can't say I'd ever noticed it till now.
Connect the dots!
Okay, let me get this straight. You think the armored suits might have originally...
Huh. But
it would mean... Just...
Not... hugely? Hey, Kisar.
Get him, Hootle. Oh, now you...
Ow, ow, ow! You know, guys, when you think about it, we've taken out...
You can say that again. If one thing's for certain in this...
Isn't it weird that they're still so plentiful? You don't think
Certainly in all of my years, I've never heard of them constructing...
The only thing I can think of, then, is that
There's also no organized effort on our part to hunt them down.
Exterminate them?
What do you mean?
Zeugles originally used to be living creatures native to Dana and Rena.
You're right. Zeugles were only created because of us Rena.
First people made Zeugles, and then we let them go. And now we're trying...
I hope we find a way to be able to live side by side with them.
It's a nice thought, but they attack towns and cities. What else are we supposed to...
Aside from the strays that have gone wild, it's worth remembering that
If we had distinct territories that didn't overlap, that might reduce the danger they...
Well, I guess when you look at it that way...
Helganquil!
Guess they don't need their red woman disguised as...
Wait! Can you...
It's no use. We're not...
So they really are being controlled. In that case...
I knew there was something off here!
They're not pulling punches. We have no choice but to beat them at their own game.
Burning!
Take this!
Glacial Spear!
Take this! Dragon Form!
An Astro Arts?
That's my cue!
Shut him down!
Searing Flames! Reload!
Blow away! Eternal Devastation!
One at a time!
Thank you!
Glacial Spear!
Sunlight Alpha!
Freeze Lancer!
Dragon Form!
Winds of Heaven!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Shine!
My radiant light! Move of regeneration! Regen Form!
Being interrupted.
Dragon Form! Now I can let
Don't
loose!
be carried away!
Radiant Spear!
Breath of life! No further!
Here, let me help! Spread! First
Dragon
between heaven and earth!
Dragon Form!
Begin!
Blow away! Sunlight Alpha! Eternal Devastation!
Here's a healing raging cascade!
Dragon Form!
Sleep now!
Double Demon Bang!
Let's get you off the highway!
You apart! I'll burn it all! Flaming Pillar! Fire!
Jill! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
There you go, Elfin!
It's time to end this battle!
I'm right beside you!
Dragon Form!
Raging cascade!
Dragon Form! This one's all mine!
Not much longer to go!
Come on, one final push!
Let's do this together, Elfin!
Blow them away!
Purge Malenia
Now,
to the front!
take this!
Big waterfall! Freeze Lancer! Dance in the wind!
Ring!
Air thrust! Here! Whirling
I'm
It's over! Astral energy! Full throttle!
Alphen.
I can't forgive them for what they've done, but I hate killing them. They don't even know why they're fighting.
Perhaps. However, if we don't make a choice, the guilt of not...
Yeah, I know. I hate for it to be like this.
I wonder if we're going to get attacked again.
If we lose heart... No, this whole...
I thought there'd be more dirt and rocks and stuff underneath the hollowed ocean, but it's all...
I would imagine they're remnants left behind by the Helganquil.
It's incredible.
Hey, these guys built Lenegis, remember?
If they had... Or rather... We haven't seen...
The truth to think of...
Do you think we...
Like all...
I think we...
You and... On the contrary.
Just look in the past.
Regarding... Also,
I can
What do you...
And
Yeah, there must be.
borrow?
If it were.
you know what he...
This one in a bind? I shall ensure you survive this. Can you take it? Dance on the wind!
These ones can run rings around us.
They smite with black and blade!
Sorry to trouble you.
Try this! Explosive ring! Bloody Dragon Swarm!
Freeze Lancer! Radiant Spear! Air
Demon! Prepare to be seized! Dragon Swarm!
That sound is more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing.
Explosive ring! Take this!
By the power
Dragon
of
Swarm!
Lilith!
Begin! Dance on the wind! Dragon Swarm! Smite with black and blade! This one's all mine!
In here!
Execution! Take this!
I'll be by the power of
Dragon
Lilith!
Swarm!
Finish without a trace! Raging Cascade! Now!
In an instant! Impact block!
We work well together.
Like a finely timed waltz.
Take this! Dragon Swarm!
Hear me! Flame of Fury!
Elusive Deity! Explosive ring!
Here's the evil!
Freeze Lancer!
I'll be saving this
Being interrupted. Not today!
Alright! Do it! Shield! Astral energy! Full throttle! Now! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished.
Step back! This one's all law!
I wonder...
I'd say
Ironic?
the Renan now.
Which must...
Now, without it...
Yeah.
What'd he say?
He said...
Is this a dead end?
It appears this whole room functions as an elevator. That apparatus there is likely what's used to control it. That was quite the little adventure we went on.